Hey, welcome. So, let's see if this works this time. Can you guys see me, hear me? Uh, I see it looks like Facebook is working. If somebody can give me a comment or something, let me know that you can see and hear me because my monitor isn't working. I'm guessing this thing needs to be. I don't know what the problem is. It's very interesting. But somebody leave a comment, or I see two people watching, but I don't. What is this? What is this? You can see and hear me. Okay, that's all I need was one person. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm about to start over because I'm recording my actual podcast. I just need to make sure my stuff was right. All right, okay, so I'm about to start again. Here we go. Hey, all right, here we go. Now, welcome to another episode of Learn to Love 101. I am Clifton Brantley, your host, and I am so glad that you have joined me tonight. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about choosing the right partner. Right, choosing the right partner. My single followers have been asking me for a while if I could do something for just for them. And so that's what this is. And I think that this is a great topic personally because I have so many clients who come to me, married clients, they come to me for therapy who did not have what I'm going to give to you in this episode. And so they made choices based on things that were not weighty enough. Choosing the right mate is a very important decision because nothing will shape your life like relationships. Okay. You've heard me say it before. We humans, we do relationships from the cradle to the grave. And Dr. Dharius Daniels, one of the guys I follow, my pastor, he says that your greatest joy and your greatest pain is going to come from the same place, which is relationships. So, choosing the right person to spend your life with is an important decision, but it is often a decision that we make too casually. All right. You can't get life right if you get relationships wrong. Now, I want to make sure that I make this distinction. This title came from an article that I wrote years ago before I was even a therapist called How to Choose a Mate. And I had to make this distinction in the article too. So let me give you this distinction between what I'm talking about and what I'm not. So I'm talking about how to choose the right partner, not how to find the right partner. Okay, that's a different topic. And to be honest, that's not my ministry. Okay, I don't know where you find a partner, and I don't know where to look or anything like that, but I can help you choose after you find them. That's what I do. And so, and also let me address my traditional women right quick. My traditional women who are listening. A young lady once told me, I'm not choosing a man. He's supposed to choose me. Okay, and I understand what you're saying, but first, if you're talking about scripture, okay, it says he that finds a wife, not chooses a wife. And second thing, when you're dating, you're not choosing a wife or a husband. You're gathering information so that you can make a choice, and the choice that's best for you. And then the third thing, even if it did mean he who chooses a wife chooses a good thing, it does not mean that everything now is on the man to make the move. You feel me? Taking that one scripture and building your dating theology around it, it's dangerous. And the reason that it's dangerous is because it takes away your free will that God has given you, and then it limits, or at least it puts limits on your ability to choose, because now you've put it in somebody else's hand. Okay, so I don't want to get like all into that. I'm just making the distinction that I'm talking about choosing a mate as opposed to finding a mate. Okay, I think that's important. Now, so now when we talk about choosing the right partner, the key word is right. Okay, if choosing the right partner is an option, then choosing the wrong partner is an option. So then that begs the question: what is a right partner? Here it is. And if you're taking notes, this is something good to write down. A right partner is a suitable partner for your soul. A right partner is a suitable partner for your soul. Now, don't confuse your soul and your spirit. Okay, they're not the same. I grew up thinking that they were the same, but your soul and your spirit are not the same. Okay, your spirit is what connects you to God. But your soul, this is how I say it, your soul is your version of humanity. Yeah, your soul is your version of humanity, your personality, your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, your beliefs, even your triggers. They're all a part of your soul. So then, in essence, in order for you to have a soulmate or a soul partner, which is the only way you can have a right partner, you need to know and understand your soul. You need to understand you. And that's the very first step in choosing the right partner. You have to know you. Take the time to get to know yourself. Take the time to get to know the ins and outs of you. Why? So that you'll know how to choose someone who fits with who you are. You've probably heard me announce a few weeks ago, right? That I finally finished my book. At least the manuscript. I finished the manuscript. The actual production is still going on, but I finished the manuscript. So in there's a chapter called Becoming. And in that chapter, I talk about becoming your better self so that you can have a successful relationship. Without spending too much time in that particular area, the most important area of development you will need is the area of maturity, emotional maturity. That's your most important area of development, emotional maturity. This may sound obvious when I say it, but I'm gonna explain it to you. Marriage is for adults. Marriage is for adults. But that means that you have to be an adult before you get married. The thing is, a lot of people are chronological adults, but emotionally, they're still children. And when you are what we call an adult child, it means that you are not emotionally whole enough to join your life with someone else, at least not in the sense of marriage, lifelong marriage. Okay? Now, I know that there are married people watching, okay? And some of you may be living out this reality. That doesn't mean you have to get a divorce. Doesn't mean you have to get a divorce, but I do want you to commit yourself to your own emotional development so that you can truly enjoy the benefits of being in an adult relationship, like more peace, more fun, right? Less stress, less shame, guilt, less depression, right? When you're an adult, you operate in adult relationships differently. There are some clear signs that you're not ready to be in a relationship, but I'm not going to go into that tonight in this episode. I will do that because I'm sure this is going to be a two-part, at least a two-part, maybe three, I don't know, but I know it's going to at least be a two-part, I guess, series, if you want to call it that. But anyway, listen, so that's the first thing. You need to know you. That's the first thing. Before you ever think about joining yourself with someone, looking for someone, being open to someone, however you want to say it, you need to know you. What are your strengths and your weaknesses, right? What are your habits and your triggers? Okay. Now, once you know you, then you do know that there's still more work to do, because knowing you is only one part. Okay. But you can't know, you can't choose someone for you if you don't actually know you. And I know a lot of people think that they know themselves. Most of my clients come into my office and they think they know themselves. I know they don't, because of the behavior they're exhibiting. Because when you know you, when you're good with you, there's a certain way that you operate in life. And I'm not saying that everybody's life looks the same. That's not what I'm saying. But there are certain, just trust me when I say, as a therapist, there are certain things that point directly to this baby don't really know who they are. Because if they did, they wouldn't be allowing that, right? So when you're at the place, when you know who you are, and you don't need someone else to agree about who you think you are, then the next thing after that is patience. You probably knew that was going to be on the list, right? Patience. Don't commit to someone because you felt a connection when you first met them, right? I've heard so many people say, I married them because they treated me different than I've ever been treated before. The problem is they've been dealing with toxic relationships for so long that when someone comes along and treats them normal, they think that it's special. I'm like, no, he's supposed to talk to you calmly when he's upset instead of cursing you out. Okay? She's supposed to apologize when she hurts you. That's not extraordinary. That's normal. But because you were so used to dysfunctional relationships, when you meet this person and you marry them because they've shown you normal, not extraordinary, but normal, so you marry them after 3 months because your wow meter was too low, right? Your wow meter was you got wowed on normal. It wasn't extraordinary. Just because you feel a way that you've never felt before doesn't mean that that's the right fit for you. You have to take time to get to know them. You got to take time to get to know them. Okay. And that is, in essence, what dating is all about. Dating is about gathering information. Don't go into dating expecting for this to be the one. That's the wrong mindset. Okay. Go into dating with the mindset of gathering information to see if and how they fit into your life. Right? If you have a job, for example, well, you travel most of the month, and then you meet someone and they want to see you, 4 times a week, then they may not be a good fit for you. And I'm just speaking in general, right? The point is you have to gather data, and you need to gather it for a while. All right? You need to, 3 months is not long enough for you to gather enough data to say, I want to commit my life to you, or commit my life to spending with you. 3 months? No. 6 months? No. Now, I'll be honest. I don't actually have a set in stone time frame as far as how long you should be gathering data. But I do have some things that I will share later, right? That I believe you need to see before you move to the next level, right? There are some things that you do need to see, regardless of how long it takes. Some things you need to see before you move to the next level. Now, one of the things, let me share this with you to make this point about patience and gathering information, right? So I personally struggle with impulsivity. Okay, it's something that I've gotten better because I've been working on it, but I'm impulsive, right? So the other day I was looking at some new filters for the air filtration system in my garage. I didn't know the exact size that I needed. So I found something online, and it was from the same company that made my system, and it looked like it would fit. So I bought it. And I bought it without checking, right? So now when it came, sure enough, it didn't fit my system. It did not look like it didn't look anything like it did when I saw it online. Like, it didn't look like the picture. But when I went back to Amazon and actually looked at the description, when I read the description and what it said that the picture was not a representation of the actual filter. Well, okay. The thing is, if I were not so impulsive, I could have read the description and I would have seen that it wasn't for the system that I had. But I was too much in a hurry to do the research, right? I didn't take the time to gather appropriate data. So I ended up investing in something that was not compatible with what I had. Now, this irresponsibility and impulsivity only cost me a trip to UPS because Amazon has amazing return policy, right? So it only cost me a trip to the UPS. But when it comes to choosing a partner, the consequences of making a quick or uninformed decision can cost you years of peace, years of tears, years of frustration. Okay? And the point that I'm making is this: don't be hasty in your decision in choosing a life partner. Don't be hasty. I've been saying this for years. It is better to be out of a relationship that you want to be in than to be in one you can't get out of. I'm going to say it again. It's better to be out of a relationship that you want to be in than to be in one that you can't get out of. Okay? That is important. But now watch this. The thing about gathering data is if you don't know you, meaning if you don't know what you need in a partner, then you'll be gathering wrong data, right? Do you know what recharges your battery relationally? Do you know what your top 3 emotional needs are? As a matter of fact, now that I mentioned emotional needs in the book, I have this chapter on intimacy. It's called Please Let Me In. And I talk about how to identify your top 3 emotional needs. But that made me remember that that puts me in the mindset of remembering to tell you this. Dating is not the place for deep intimacy. Dating is not the place for deep intimacy. I'm going to say it one more time because I really need you to get that. Because this is probably the area where most people messed up, especially, I'm not trying to be ugly, especially women. Dating is not the place for deep intimacy. The thing is, when you're gathering data and you introduce deep intimacy like sex or spending too much time together, right? Giving too much energy too soon, you will hinder your ability to gather reliable data. When you do that, then that is when you run the risk of falling for someone who is what you want, but not what you need. So then when the euphoria wears off and reality sets in, the intimacy that you shared in dating is dead because it never had good soil to take root and thrive in. I don't talk about, well, I'm not going to even give you the disclaimer. I'm going to just say it this way. God designed us how he designed us for a reason. So the thing about God is this: he's not arbitrary. He doesn't do stuff just to be doing it. He created what he created and how, and it operates how he say it for a reason. There's a reason, just real quick, there's a reason that sex before marriage, God said don't do that. It ain't just because he trying to keep you from having fun. That ain't it. It's because sex is for marriage. It means something way different, and it opens a door. It's like it opens a door that no man can shut. That door shouldn't be open with anyone but your spouse. Now, I don't say that for conviction, and folk, you've lived how you live. Trust and believe. I'm not in a position to condemn not a soul, and I would never do that. Right? That's not the point of what I'm saying. I'm just saying when you operate in a way that is different than how you're designed, you will suffer. Okay, so dating is not the place for deep intimacy, right? So when you introduce intimacy into dating, and then you go ahead and you get married, then you come see me, and now you want me to be a miracle worker, and you want me to make right what you chose wrong. So I'm saying the best way to avoid that is to know yourself, become emotionally mature, gather data, and don't move too fast, right? Don't move too fast. Now, because the next part that I have is a little bit deeper and more extensive, I didn't want to try to tack it on to the end of this because I'm already at 30 minutes. Well, it's like, 26 minutes. And I think it needs its own time. So I'm going to save it for next time. Okay. So that's all I have for you tonight in this part 1. Part 2, I hope you join me. I think I'm gonna do it next Friday. I'm gonna send out an email. I'm gonna do it next Friday. But part 2, I'm gonna go deep. So this is just kind of like preparing you to make the choice. But when I go deeper, we're gonna talk about those. I said there are some things that you need to look out for, some things you need to see before you make that plunge into marriage. There's also some red flags that if you do see, you pump the brakes and you might need to get off the train. Okay, so we'll talk about that next time. So I want to open up for questions as usual. Sorry about the rough start that I had because I don't know what was going on with the stuff technically. And hopefully this is showing on all of my channels. I don't know who's from where. I don't know who's on Facebook, who's on YouTube, who's on my business page, but hopefully everything worked out on your end. So let's see. Are there any questions for you guys? Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. So I'm open for your questions. Actually, so while you're preparing your questions, because I'm seeing my so while you're preparing your questions, let me say this, okay? Because this is something I forgot to say. One thing I wanted to say is that when you move too fast, I kind of said it, but I want to say it this way specifically. When you move too fast in choosing a partner, you end up creating connections before you know where they fit in your life. I learned that from Dr. Dharius Daniels on this past Sunday, right? When you move too fast and you make connections with people, before you have clarity, you'll put them in places that's not designed for them or that where they don't fit. Not every good person that you meet fits into your life in the life partner category. Some people are meant to be friends. But when you move too fast without gathering the appropriate data, you can end up putting someone in a place that is not for them. And that can have a heavy impact on the course and purpose of your life. And for me, so I'll tell you this, for me, that is why doing relationships God's way just makes sense, because it's too big of a, I'm gonna just say area. It's too important. It's too significant to leave to chance. And it's too significant. So me, I'm 49. Although I'm married now, previous to this, I've made too many bad choices to trust my judgment on choosing a mate. And the thing is, A lot of people, I don't want to get too far, I don't want to get into my stuff for next week, but too often we choose partners because of how good we feel. That's the wrong rubric. I promise you, I'm telling you, that's the wrong rubric. Don't use that. Even when you're in a relationship, don't measure the relationship by how much fun you have and how good the sex is. You have to measure how you handle the difficult times. That is where the strength and the quality of your relationship is measured, in the storm, not in Vegas or at the park and having fun. Now, those things are good, but you don't need love for that. Love shows up when it's difficult. And so when things get difficult, if love doesn't show up, pay attention to that. Okay? All right. So let's see if we have any questions on here. Let's see. Too close, too soon. I hadn't heard that, Dr. Marks. I'm going to look that up. Too close, too soon. Let me see if I can move these comments over here so they're in front of me. Let's see. Yep. Kitty Witty, what's your question? Oh, you got to type it. I'm not going to, there's no way for you to join me in talking. You got to type it. So let me know. Thank you, Miss Aaron. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Waiting. Yeah. If there are any people on here who are single, what has been your biggest frustration in choosing a mate? I'd like to know that. And I'm hot. I'm going to turn this. That's funny. I want to turn my fan on, but I don't know which one's the fan, which one's the light. We're going to find out together. Oh, that's the fan. Let's see. How to avoid marrying a jerk. I've heard of that one. I have heard of that. I don't have it, but I have heard of how to avoid marrying a jerk. How to avoid being a jerk that somebody is married to. That's a good one too. Well, it's not a book, but maybe somebody should write that. How to avoid being a jerk when you're married. Right? Nobody wants to speak up and talk today and tell me about their experience of choosing a mate. I can tell you a little bit about mine, and then I'll end. I'm not gonna hold you guys. Well, I'm not holding you. You can always walk out of church if you want to, right? But man, before my wife, I've never been a good finder. Never been a good finder. And unfortunately, the wisdom that I've gained about choosing, I learned all of that pretty much after I was married. So bumps and hiccups. I just happen to be blessed, with what I got, because I'm with you, Miss Cat. I don't trust my own judgment anymore. After my last divorce, I was telling people I became a but now Christian. A but now Christian, which means this. David said, before I was afflicted, I went astray. But now I keep your word. And so that's what I mean. Thinking they're ready for a serious relationship and they're not. Yes. But that's most people. Most people think they're ready for what they're not ready for. And the thing about, I apologize. I didn't realize I was looking up here at y'all comments and not down here at the camera. So that probably looked crazy. So let me just talk to y'all in the camera. Most people think they're ready for what they're not ready for. And that's the thing about dating. If you take your time and date, you can find out, oh, wait, I thought I was ready, but I'm not ready because I don't want to share my French fries. And I'm not interested in taking a bath every night. Like, you want a man to take a bath every night? Yeah, no. If I ain't go nowhere, if I, if I worked from home, I took a bath last night and I worked from home, I got to take another bath tonight? No. So a lot of folk think they're ready, but they're not. Dr. Marks, you need a check, sir. He say his wife is a great finder. I'm not bold enough to say that because my wife be like, try Jesus, don't try me because I fight. So I'm good. Is it okay to date my ex-husband's associate? Wow. Okay, Miss Kitty. We're going to go right in. Well, let's see. That question has a bunch of layers where it's difficult to just give a simple answer. But I'm going to try to answer it for you. Okay. Is it okay? First of all, this is how I can answer. Okay. If God doesn't say it's not okay, then now it's up to you and your wisdom. That's what I believe. And so, so the only reason I mention God, because like with your question, I don't know the backstory. I don't know if there's any other kind of layers where if I say, yeah, it's okay, but then, well, no, because they married, you know what I'm saying? I'm just making a point. So outside of that, your ex-husband's associates I don't see why that's off limits. Now that's me. That's the gospel according to Clifton. That's what I believe. I'm a little different though. Because I don't have some of the hangups that some people have about that kind of stuff, about not same sex, but opposite sex friends in marriage. Like I'm a little different, and I understand that, some people ain't with what I believe, but hey, it's all good. But if it's your ex-husband associates, as long as I would, so do y'all have children? I would talk to your ex-husband to see how he feels about it, if y'all still have a relationship. But if y'all don't have a relationship, I would wonder how vulnerable you're making yourself to other things that you're unaware of, right? And let me backtrack. Let me backtrack. Wisdom just kicked in. Here's what I would say. I'd say it's okay if you want to do that, but I say I don't think it's wise. Here's why. If you have a connection with this person, like this person, whatever. The thing about God is he does not, I don't believe scripture supports God choosing our mate for us, which means, when I talk about soulmate, I don't mean that there's only one person on the planet for you. That being said, just like you found this guy, there are millions of men on the planet. You can find another one. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Sometimes finding quality men in particular, it's not easy. But is it worth the potential drama for you to date your ex-husband's associate? You got to weigh that out for yourself, right? And that's kind of, this may not be your situation, but that's kind of when people come to me and they've made connections before they've, gathered information, and then they want me to bless what looks like a mess. I'm like, why are y'all together? Y'all don't fit. Right? And I'm saying that may not be your situation, but the point is when you move too soon and we've connected, but now I've connected with this person. Now I want to find a way how to make it work because it's what I want no matter what. And that's dangerous. Trust me, I've lived that more times than I'd like to admit. So that's dangerous. So I would say just be wise. But as far as right and wrong and whether it's not okay, I really believe it's up to you. And, the situation. I don't think it's really up to you in general, if that makes sense. Did I answer your question? And let me pull this question up so people can see it when they replay this. That was the question that I was just answering, guys. Okay. All right. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to end, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week again. I really appreciate you. I've been looking at the comments the whole time. I'm sorry. I don't know why I wasn't looking at let me move the comments back over here so I'm not looking at them. So they're over here. Now the camera is here. Thank you guys again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Keep your eyes open for the book. I'm trying to get it wrapped up as soon as possible. If you are watching this and you know you are one of the people 4 years ago who invested in my project, I gave you my word that you're going to get a free copy. You still going to get it. I haven't forgotten. I have the list, right? Just letting you know. Okay. I know it seemed like it wasn't ever going to come to pass, but at the appointed time, right? In due season. And that's where we are, in due season. So anyway, you guys have a good evening. Take care. If you have other questions, do send them to me. Let me give you this announcement real quick. So I talked to some of you know Dr. Patrick Wanis. He's done a couple of webinars with me. So talking to him today, we're putting together a webinar on sexual abuse. Okay, so we're thinking we're going to do it sometime in August, but I'm going to be putting together an email to send out to you to ask you questions about sexual abuse. You can reply anonymously. I don't know if I'm gonna create a web page or just have you email it back to me, but either way, it'll be anonymous. Because we want to do something on sexual abuse sometime in August. He wanted me to make sure I make that announcement to you guys. Let's see. Now I can find another spouse. I hope my current one doesn't mind. I mean, look. So from what I've heard from your wife, Rick, you taking your life into your own hands. I would not advise. I would not advise. I would not advise. So anyway, God bless you. Good night. In my Russell Simmons imitation. Who thought I was gone? No, I'm kidding. I'm gone.